So today's video we're going to be talking about how to engage ProPilot Assist in your 2018 Nissan Rogue, if so equipped. Now, to engage it, there are a couple steps you have to do. Of course, first you do have to press the ProPilot Assist button, at which point you'll see the ProPilot screen come up on the screen. Then you'll have your set speed, your car in front of you, if it can detect the cars in front of you, and then lastly, to turn green, is the steering. Now keep in mind, this ProPilot Assist is going to be only for highway driving, so not city driving. And if you're interested to see what contributes to this, so it's a combination of steering assist, emergency braking, and blind spot warning that all work together to be able to provide Nissan's ProPilot Assist. So we're going to take it out on the highway in just a little bit. Like I said, keep in mind this is a hands-on driving aid system, so it's not completely self-driving. You are able to take your hands off the steering wheel for a couple seconds, but when you do that, the car is going to start. It's gonna start a couple warnings to let you know to put your hands back on the steering wheel. So we're gonna go ahead and turn ProPilot Assist off, and then as soon as we get up to highway speeds, we'll go ahead and turn it right back on. So like I said, this is the ProPilot Assist is available on the Nissan Rogue SL, the top of the line, with a certain package. So it's not going to be available on all the Nissan Rogues, and it's not going to be standard on the SL Rogue. It is an option that you can find on the high end of the Nissan Rogue. It's not a very expensive option, but it does come with a lot of safety features like pedestrian detection as well, and a lot more goodies, a premium interior, leather seats you can get in the Nissan Rogue. So okay, so we're about a couple seconds away from taking this onto the highway and trying it out. Again, to get a ProPilot Assist, you do have to have the Platinum package on the 2018 Nissan Rogue SL. So now there's a lot of traffic here, so it's actually the perfect scenario for the ProPilot Assist. So it engages the same way a cruise control system is going to engage. First, of course, you do turn it on. Imagine your cruise control on. You set the speed that you want. So let's say we're going to set it right now, like let's say 25 miles an hour, 30 miles an hour. It'll actually slow down and keep up with traffic. So even though it's set as a higher speed, it's not gonna maintain that speed if traffic is not clear. At which point you can also adjust the following distance by pressing this button here. So let's go ahead and turn it on. Now right now the lines are not clearly visible, so actually it's not going to engage right away, but let's go ahead and turn it on, and then as soon as we're in a place where traffic lines are a little bit more visible, then we're going to go ahead and hit engage. So right about now we just engaged it. So super easy. Right now it's just as letting us know that the cruise control is set, but ProPilot Assist has not taken over yet until it detects solid lines. So again, I brake, so it's gonna go ahead and turn it off. Let's go ahead and set it again. Perfect. So now it has engaged. I can actually let go of the steering wheel if I decide to, but it's always best to have your hand on the steering wheel. It has, let's go ahead and increase the cruising distance a little bit more, since the car in front of me is kind of far away. But as we start to get closer, the car automatically slows down. So again, I'm not pressing on the brake. All I'm doing is just holding on to the steering wheel to let the vehicle know that I am, of course, paying attention. I have not fallen asleep at the wheel or anything, and I'm not making any corrections. The car is able to do this all on its own. And as you can see, it's also stopping on its own. So again, perfect scenario if you're in traffic, you drive in a lot of traffic. You always have to alternate between the gas and the brake, The system's able to do it for you. And as you can see, it's actually even going through the curve. I'm letting go of the steering wheel right now. It's actually going through the turn, telling me to put my hands back on without a problem. Let's go ahead and let it go again, just to show how well the system actually works. So it keeps me centered in my lane. It is actually slowing me down again. I've put my hands back on the steering wheel, the warning goes away. So again, it's super cool. Again, something that once you have it, once you get used to it, you don't want to stop. So again, so it's just going to be a quick demo of how it's working. and it's gonna bring me pretty much to a complete stop. If traffic stops, and then it's gonna keep going again. Okay, so let's go ahead and engage this again. I had assumed I had finished recording, but unfortunately I had not. When I thought I was recording, I actually was not recording anymore. So let's go ahead and hop back onto the freeway and try this out. So ProPilot assist all over again. Let's see here. So this is the perfect scenario again to try it out. We're heading into again a lot of traffic. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on as soon as the lanes are visible. So I merged right now, so the lanes are not easily visible. But let's go ahead and turn on ProPilot Assist. We're gonna set the speed to I'd say about 31 miles an hour, 32 miles an hour. Actually, this lane's about to end, so let's go ahead and hop one lane over if we're able to. Okay, perfect. So right around here, it's going to give us the perfect scenario to go ahead and try this out. Stop and go traffic. Let's go ahead and set the following distance. You see, as soon as I set it, it actually stopped just because the car in front of me was going a lot slower. So it was set at 20 miles an hour, but as soon as I turned on the system, it went ahead and turned it and slowed the car down. So again, perfect scenario. So if you're in stop and go traffic, you don't get as fatigued. You don't have to be constantly switching from the gas to the brake and back. So this is like I said, it's a hands-on system. It's meant to ease the workload of the driver. And you see it's gonna stop for us too. And again, I'm not touching the gas, I'm not touching the brake. Let's see how it handles merging. Ooh, that guy just kind of didn't let us merge. Yeah, let's go ahead and set the speed again a little bit higher. So it is able to engage pretty quickly with the steering assist. Unfortunately right now, because the lanes are not very clear, it hasn't had the opportunity to do so. But if we move one lane over, with the lanes a little bit clearer, I'm pretty sure it's going to be able to. But let's go ahead and try this out. I actually do have to switch lanes again. But again, this is your first-hand look at how ProPilot actually works. So it's already engaged, but unfortunately it engaged at the wrong time because we do have to switch lanes. But let's go ahead and let it do its thing. As you can see, it's able to handle going through the curve without a problem. Right there, you see it turned off. We heard a chime because the lanes were not visible anymore, but we can go ahead and wait for it to turn right back on. Literally just did right now. So again, ProPilot Assist is on again. We're gonna leave it to see how it handles the curves. Again, hands-on system, so I am able to take my hands off the steering wheel for a couple seconds, but then once it detects my hands are not on the steering wheel anymore, we're gonna start to get a warning to let me know to put my hands back on the steering wheel, which is just did right now. If I keep them off, it eventually disengage. It'll bring the car to a stop and it will not work anymore. So we're not gonna let that happen today, but we are gonna drive. So let's see. You see the car in front of us, it merged incorrectly. Let's go ahead and bring up the speed again. We're gonna set it. We're gonna go through these curves here, and we're gonna. So it's engaged, which is what that sound you heard here. Let's go ahead and pick up the speed a little bit higher. So these are very curvy roads. So let's go ahead and see how it handles it. It might confuse the system, it might not. Actually, let's go ahead and take over just because this is a split here. Okay, so now, we picked a terrible freeway to try this out, unfortunately. Let's go ahead and set the speed again. Okay, so we're engaging ProPilot Assist all over again. So we have the cruise control set to the speed, and then let's go ahead and okay, so let's go ahead and try this out one more time. Unfortunately, I did make a couple recording errors, and I wasn't able to save the footage of Pro Pilot Assist doing its job. So right now we have the intelligent cruise control on, and it's just intelligent cruise control, nothing else. Pro Pilot Assist is not going to be on until the lanes are visible, which is what we're going to go through very shortly. Let's go ahead and set the speed a little bit higher right now that the traffic's clear. So that beep you just heard, Pro Pilot Assist is already engaged, and it's actually incredibly quick how it engages. And as you see right now, there's no traffic, so it's flying smoothly. It's taking the curve. I'm gonna go ahead and take my hands off, and as you can see, it's turning the steering wheel. But let's go ahead and put my hand back on, just so the warning goes away. But you see, it does a good job at handling the curves. It's not a self-driving system. It is hands-on, but as you can see, it handled that curve without a problem. In turn, it keeps me centered in the lane without any issues. Let's go ahead and do this again. There's another curve coming up right now, and it's going uphill on a curve. Let's go see how it handles that, and it handles it. It handled it amazingly well. And again, let's go ahead and put my hand back on the steering wheel. And again, I'm not doing any of the turning at all. I'm just holding the steering wheel. And as you can see, Pro Pilot Assist engages. It works incredibly well. Let's go ahead and switch lanes so I can show you how that works. If I switch lanes, it disengages until I get back into the lane. It's just gonna wait to read the markers again, and it's engaged. Easy as that. So it's quick how it's able to disengage and engage. Again, it doesn't handle lane changes. You have to do that by yourself. But as you can see, as soon as you go into your lane, it's able to engage almost immediately. And again, even though the cruise control is set to 53 miles an hour, it's maintaining the speed at 40 miles an hour because of the traffic in front of me. And as you can see, it's able to slow down, speed up, and engage and disengage. Right, so as we start to exit the freeway, you see it disengages automatically, just because this is not a street level Pro Pilot Assist. Is only for highway driving. So again, this was your first look at behind the wheel of the Pro Pilot Assist. I'm gonna try to head back onto the freeway and do this all over again, just to give you guys another demonstration if I'm able to. So we're about to hop back into traffic, which is again the perfect scenario for Pro Pilot Assist, because you're not having to worry about constantly switching gas brake. So let's go ahead and see how quickly it engages and how smoothly it does. So now that the lanes are a little bit easier to see, they're not very necessarily visible, but let's go ahead and set it. We're going to set the speed to let's say like 30 miles an hour, 35 miles an hour. And you see, from when I was switching, from when I was putting the speed up, it actually engaged within seconds. So let's go ahead and put my hand back on the steering wheel. So it's set at 34 miles an hour, but we're traveling below that because of the traffic conditions. And I can also adjust the following distance. So right now we're at the furthest following distance, just because that's where I felt a little bit more comfortable trying the system out. But let's go ahead and put the following distance to a little bit closer. So now we have 1 bar following distance, which is the closest following distance you can have. And it's gonna start to get a little bit, it's gonna inch closer to this car in front of us here. And again, as it's even bringing me to a complete stop and resume all by itself. So again, I'm not, my feet are not even anywhere near the gas or brake. I'm not handling that. The car is able to do it by itself. And as we're going through a curve here, you'll start to see like the steering wheel turn a little bit, just minor adjustments just to keep up with the flow of traffic and the curve of the road. So let's go ahead and increase this following distance right again. So now this lane, you're gonna see how it works. This lane is actually gonna merge into another lane right now, and when that happens, when the lines are no longer clearly visible, it's gonna disengage automatically and let you know to re-engage it once the lanes are visible again. And once they are, it engages incredibly quick. As you saw, for a quick second there, it actually came to a complete stop, and then it was able to resume immediately by itself. So again, I just want to repeat, this is a hands-on system, not a completely hands-off, but you could take your hands off the steering wheel for a little bit and it'll still keep you centered in your lane as I'm doing right now. So but when I do that, it's gonna tell me to put my hands on the steering wheel again. So now that they're on, the warning disengages. So since we were stopped for too long, it was not able to automatically engage. I did have to press the gas, but once I stepped on the gas a little bit, the car handled the rest. So right now it's inching with traffic, and again, it's gonna bring me to a complete stop. So again, this is a perfect scenario where you're in stop and go traffic. The vehicle's handling the drive for you. It's staying centered in this lane. You don't have to worry about having to change lanes or anything. So again, my hands are not on the steering wheel at the moment. I just want to show you how it works, but again, hands-on system. So now there's no more lane markers, and it's gonna ask me to put my hands on the steering wheel, and it's gonna disengage because it is not clearly visible. The lanes are visible on one side, which is surprising that it hasn't disengaged yet. So it's actually handling the merge, but as you see right there, once it made sense that the lines were not visible, so it just disengage. But as we approach here, if it's able to catch on to the lanes, it's gonna automatically engage. Let's give it a try. And there it is. Unfortunately though, because we are exiting, we're gonna turn this off and then see if it engages on the out ramp. Let's see. Yeah, no, it didn't work anymore here on the on ramp. But there you go. This has been your driver's view of ProPilot Assist. Again, a system that once you're used to it, once you have it, you really do not want to stop having it. So again, it's available on the Nissan Rogue SL with the Platinum package, and it's from 2018 and above. So again, this system's gonna debut on the Nissan Leaf later this month, but for now, you're actually able to get your hands on it, the 2018 Nissan Rogue SL with the Platinum package. Thank you for watching.